I found that I actually have more motivation to work out at home. They were helping me stay motivated and stay positive,
Yeah.
especially in COVID. You might not want to eat some broccoli or like, some some chicken and broccoli and rice, but you don't have to eat that all the time.
Your recovery is almost, if not more important than the actual workouts that you do.
It's thinking about it in the long term. Like, think about yourself in 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? Think about yourself 10 years from now. Where do you want to be? Because that is what's going to get you to that next point. What you do now affects you 5 years from now. And
What is up, guys? It's John, aka Bruce Lee. We're back with another podcast, and this time we have another special guest, TRICIA Maria. She does HIIT workouts, and she'll kick your butt online. Definitely check out her YouTube channel. I'll have it in the link below. There's 10-minute stuff, 15-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute. If you have more time than that, fuck it, do 2 of them. You know what I mean? She's got all the resources for you guys, and they're seriously good workouts and super well edited. I find a lot of home workouts I think are lacking. And you know what, guys? Gone are the days of P90X and Sean T. You know, support someone you can get to know. Sean T, if you're watching this, you're a great guy, but
yeah, we like you.
we like you, but support local, or I don't know, guys. Like, you want to know who you're working with. We're gonna get to know TRICIA right now. Today we're talking about how to work out at home, because we hear it all the time. I bet TRICIA of like, I just don't like working out online. It's not for me. Like, I get it, but when you have no other option, like for me, stasis or just being unhealthy is not the option. So I'll let TRICIA introduce herself a bit, but as a reminder, I am John. I'm a kickboxing teacher here from Canada, and to be Muay Thai fighter. TRICIA, tell us about yourself, maybe, and then your history in fitness, stuff like that. What got you started posting online workouts for the world?
For the world, for the people.
YouTube is worldwide. You never know where you're getting views.
You're right. That's true. That is true. Well, hey, friends. No, just all my 15 friends.
Anyone watching this who's supporting us?
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
We really do. Well, that's a great question. My fitness journey started a long time ago, but it wasn't until I think back in 2015 that I started taking it more seriously as something that I wanted to devote more time to on a daily and weekly basis, and do like an actual regimen of working out sessions. And that was great. And I also realized that I loved doing it. So actually right now I'm studying to become a certified personal trainer with NASM Fitness. And it's a wonderful, it's a very rigorous program. I do study at home, and it's because of COVID, can't go to classrooms.
Study, work, and train at home.
Yeah. Study, work, train at home. That's going to be my new motto.
Well,
and I think after a period of time of going to a gym, don't get me wrong, a gym is great. If you need that extra motivation, it's wonderful. And for a lot of people, that's what everybody needs. But for me, I found that I actually have more motivation to work out at home than to get. Yeah, I know. Wow.
Interesting. Whoa. Red alert. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If so, please leave a like, because it means a lot to me and supports the channel big time. And please consider subscribing so I can hang out with you again. For now, let's get back to the video.
Newsflash. And then to get my gym bag, get into the car, drive 15-20 minutes, get to my gym, and then get all sweaty, and then sit all sweaty, all that kind of stuff. It just,
when you put it that way, it does sound like more of a chore than I realized. But
yeah, exactly. I think that's one of those things. And then it's as soon as I started posting my online workouts, I realized, hey, I actually could curate this for anybody who would like to watch it and participate along with it. So I started sharing them largely because they were helping me stay motivated and stay positive, especially in COVID. That's I only started sharing them because I had to work my confidence up to sharing them. I only started sharing them back in 2020, like December of 2020. And, but all throughout that time, I was creating my own workouts and really seeing results from it, because it was curated to me, like, so it was
And it's
very,
funny
very
that you say that
personal.
about how like keeping yourself motivated because where I work, whenever people ask me about like tips for like losing weight, one of the tips I give them is post like the day you want to make a commitment to your fitness journey,
Yep.
post it on Facebook and let everyone know. Because
Yeah.
now you're not gonna look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And that's that
Yeah.
social accountability. You know what I
It
mean?
really, it really is. I think that was one of the biggest things, is that as soon as I started sharing it, I realized, oh my goodness gracious, I better
Now you
keep getting
can't fail.
shredded. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I better have like, an 8 pack by the end.
Yeah, if I
You
told
know?
everyone, hey guys, I'm on a 10-week challenge, in 10 weeks I'll have a six pack, you're gonna look pretty stupid if you're not at least close. And like as you post like your progress or you post like
Yep.
I don't know whatever you want to post, I find like people find it start to support you even more or to get
Hmm.
motivated by you. And I think nothing motivates but most of me, but a lot of people, nothing motivates me more than knowing that I'm motivating somebody else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's that power of the village or the power of the community that I think that you get to ride off of when you do stuff online.
Yeah, absolutely. And sharing it, I mean, honestly, if it can make, I'm a very quirky person, and if my workout can make anybody laugh
Yeah.
while they're killing themselves, then I've done my job, halftime,
Totally.
yeah,
Anyone
halfway through a
watching
burpee,
this
damn
who's
it.
well, if
Yeah.
you start doing a workout and you're like, "Fuck you, Trisha, this you're killing me." She tried to make it funny, man. All right, so
Yeah, absolutely. Smile while you're dying, smile while you're doing your push-up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that's half the battle too, right? It's just like making sure that it's for you, right? You're not doing it for someone else. Sharing it online is like a great motivator to keep going through the process, but you're doing it ultimately for yourself,
yeah.
becoming a better person. It's all about a self progression. And I think if you're doing it and you're thinking the entirety of the time, man, what a waste of time this is,
Yeah.
that's not that's not the goal.
No, like why
You
would you
can
do
be
so? It doesn't make sense. Like why would you do something that you hate? Right? You
Yeah,
gotta enjoy it,
exactly.
otherwise you're not gonna be able to keep up with it.
Exactly. I think that's one of the biggest things. That's why I love doing, shout out to, with like the workouts that constantly keep you thinking, and the workouts that constantly challenge you. Like half of the time I'm thinking, what the heck and Bob did I do this to myself for? But it's great, like, the results speak to it, and then how you feel afterwards speak to that as well. So
Awesome. Well, how do you think, in your mind, how do you think if someone asked us, right? And I guess someone is asking us because I'm asking us right now,
yeah.
but how do we motivate people to get started with home workouts and to stay consistent? Now, you talked about in 2015, like you just had to get on a regimen. Like, can you maybe
Hmm.
tell us about how you chose something, first of
Yeah.
all, how you stuck to it, and then now how did that transition into you to who you are today? Posting workouts a ton, and I've
Hmm.
done some of yours, and they're freaking hard even for me. So
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, back in 2015, it was just starting small in a consistent way,
okay, yeah.
I didn't start doing like hour-long workouts daily. I started doing, maybe 15 or 20-minute workouts daily, just making sure to do
Okay.
that consistently. And at that time, I needed to go to a gym. So I had to pay money in,
Yeah.
in order to go. And honestly, it was that kind of motivation to say like, man, I paid money. I have to go. I cannot not go, you know.
Totally. Yeah, I hate
So
wasting
that
money.
exactly, I hate wasting money. I work hard for it. So if I'm spending money on this thing, I better go and make the most of it. So that was
And
one of
by
the
the way,
biggest.
guys, now her workouts are free. So
Yeah, exactly. They are free.
how can
Exactly.
you
But don't
say
let that
no?
not be a motivator.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you
But it's
pay
still,
me
yeah,
too,
yeah.
but
Anyway, sorry.
no, no, you're totally fine. But no, and I appreciate that, because they are free, and I pour my heart and sweat, blood and tears into them. So, um, but that's what needed to happen for me at that time. And then to keep going afterwards, it was part of just like, my body is I am in way better condition when I do these consistent workouts. my mental health is way more positive.
Mm-hmm.
I have better days, like happier days when I'm consistent with my fitness and I'm consistent with my
Wow.
nutrition. And that's what keeps me motivated for the most part. It's waking up and feeling like, damn, I can take this day on. Whereas beforehand, I'd wake up and be like, man, I just hope I can make it to when I get to bed again, you know?
Yeah, totally. What a change in mindset. And like, when you put it that,
Mhm.
I love that because when you put it that way of like, for some people like chasing a six pack, like it sounds sexy for like an hour, and then
Yep.
well, at the time you go to the grocery store and you're like, you have to choose between the vegetables or I don't know, like something frozen, like a frozen
A
pizza like
pack. Yep.
Delissio, right?
Yep.
You're like, all of a sudden that's not enough. But when you put it that way
Yeah.
of like, if you do this, you will be happier. Like I don't know
Mhm.
how. That's a lot harder for me to argue with. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that's important of like getting someone motivated for the first 10 minutes. And I see this at work all the time. Like I'm
Yeah.
always like great at this of like, imagine the life of like you're in better shape than your son who's 20. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like by
Yep.
the next day, they're like, let's cancel my membership. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, how do they keep people excited past that initial like honeymoon phase of falling in love with
Yes.
themselves? And I
Yeah.
think it's that constant 365 happiness that
Mhm.
you really should. I know it's different for everyone, but there seems to
Yep.
be a high correlation of like being healthy, staying in shape, being motivated,
Mhm.
feeling accomplished, like just
Mhm.
making your having the energy to make your bed in the morning. Like
Yeah.
it seems to have a high correlation with people who are happy. So there's
Yeah.
got to be something to it. Um,
Yeah.
Oh, and then also, by the way, guys, one thing I forgot to mention is definitely subscribe to Trisha. I already said subscribe to Trisha, but we'll also be posting a workout together. There'll be a free
Yep.
kickboxing Bruce Lee special guest appearance there very soon. You don't want to miss it. So if you're not
Don't.
subscribed, you might miss it. Um, what else could you think we could talk about that help people stay consistent? Because I think that's my biggest worry is that like
Yep.
3 weeks in they're doing great, but then as the soreness sets in, sometimes the
Yep.
cortisol builds up. You know what I mean? Like it
Yes.
starts to weigh down their energy, or they start to feel sick. You know what I mean? Like when all those
Mhm.
things start to feel, all those bad feelings before the good feelings start to like manifest. It's like if you can't make over that 3, 4, 5, 6 week initial hump, I find,
Mhm.
you're always gonna be in a cycle of starting over. So how do you think
Yeah.
we get people past that, first, let's say call it first month or something like
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's I Here's the thing. Go easy on yourself. That's fitness is not a there's not a quick fix to fitness. It is
oh
not
man,
something like you right
preach.
like you yeah, you can't. And that's the problem that I have with a lot of diet culture things that are out there, a lot of like people who are preaching or proselytizing this idea that you can do this 10-week challenge and then by the end you'll do this thing when at the end of the 10-week challenge they'll be done and then nobody wants to work out again, right? But
Yeah,
fitness it's a long game. If you're going to stop like the habits that you feel are bringing you down right now, then it's all about building consistency and it's all about moderation as well. That's the thing too with nutrition is that you might not want to eat some broccoli or like some some chicken and broccoli and rice, but you don't have to eat that all the time. I think that's one thing too that we need to make sure that people understand is that everything in moderation is what's
right.
going to get you through this. So it's
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 not
all about
0 or 100, right? It's
exactly
always
you
really something in
find
between.
exactly. You find that it's not a black or white, it's a gray. It's not a 0 or 100, it's like a 50. It's always
Yeah.
going to be a small progression and you have to be happy with the baby steps because there's never going to be one day have no six packs, the next day you do because you did 1,000 crunches. It's never going to work like that,
Yeah.
you know?
I
So
love
I
that.
think
There's
that's
no shortcut.
yeah, there really isn't. I think that's one thing that helps that especially before I was very like very regimented with my fitness program, but like before I would think, okay, I'm just going to do this 10-week challenge, and then I'll be skinny.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll be done
and I'll
forever.
and I'll be
That's
done
it.
forever, and then I'll
Yeah.
be healthy, and then stop. No, it's a daily thing. It's a choice. You wake up in the morning. It is a choice to say, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to take care of myself today. And I think getting over that first month is thinking about it in the long term. Like, think about
Mm-hmm.
yourself in 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? Think about yourself 10 years from now. Where do you want to be? Because that is what's going to get you to that next point. What you do now affects you 5 years from now and you 10 years from now. So whenever I think of that, I think, oh yeah,
Yeah, you
ooh.
better start right now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. I actually really want to be healthy when I'm like, when I'm in my 50s or something like that. I don't want to
Yeah.
not be able to make it up the stairs or, like that kind of
Yeah, not be
thing.
able to hang out with the kids or do,
Exactly. I
I
want to
don't
be
know,
able to,
COVID
yeah,
26 hits and you're locked
yeah,
up. You're like, who knows, right?
yeah, yeah. So I think
That's
that's one thing
interesting.
too. Yeah, keep it consistent. If you miss a day, that's fine. Go in, then there's always tomorrow. And if your nutrition is one day, yeah, you had a frozen Delessio pizza, that's completely fine. The
I
next
love
day,
Delicio.
yeah, it's hard to say. I love Delessio. I love their Supremes,
Oh, I
right?
know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's so good. I mean, every damn day? No, heck, no,
Yeah,
no
no,
heckin'
you
way, man.
can't. And a quick tip for you guys, if you're trying to lose weight, pizza is by far, I found one of the worst things. It's basically everything that like hurts a diet crammed into one slice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's
yeah.
so much like cheese, fat, carbs, and speaking of, and right to your point here, Trisha, of like thinking the long term. Everyone at home watching this video, hopefully you're still here. I want you to comment below if you lost 4 pounds in a month. Okay, think about what you weigh today. Think about what you want to weigh. Most people I know will lose about 4 pounds in a month consistently. So, how
Mhm,
many months are you far away from your goal right now? Think about that. Comment below because I think I'm going to see some 8, 9, 10, 12 months. And I hope that's
mhm,
eye opening of like, you can't wait another day. You can't wait another month. You can't wait another year because it's going to take you
mhm.
a year. Like, if you want to get ready for your summer body, right? Like June is literally too close for a lot of people. So comment
Yep.
below if you're comfortable or private message us or whatever it is. I want to know and let's see if we can help you out there. Okay, let's go on.
Yeah.
Next question. Why do we think people, or well, actually, I have an idea, but I want to ask you, Trish, what you think. Why are people hesitant to get into online workouts? Why are people being stopped? Why is that you're the only person I know that actually prefers at home versus the gym?
I think it's like, honestly, at a gym, you have a group mentality. You have maybe your fitness instructor there who's going to yell at you or motivate you in that sense. Online is just too easy. Sometimes it's funny because we all want hurdles. I feel like the thing that
Right.
takes that much more energy, that's
Interesting.
what we're going to do. And I
The
also
fitness
think,
challenges, right? Like
yeah,
that's always
yep.
like people always love challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody loves a challenge, whether you think you do or not, you
Yeah.
do, because as soon as you're done that challenge, that's a big like ego boost. You may
Yeah.
not feel it, but that rush of serotonin, that's what happens when you finish a challenge. And I think that's what happens when people go to a gym, they work it with a group of people, or they have a fitness
Right.
instructor, like, just really hammering it in. But that here's the thing is that with online at home workouts, you can A, save money, but
Yeah.
B, also be good for the environment. You're reducing pollution with like
That's
just
true.
the
I
driving
drive
to
30
the,
minutes a day to the gym because like the
yeah.
my camp or like my team that I'm happy with is downtown in Calgary,
Hmm.
and where I am is like almost out of the city.
Yep.
So I know
Yeah.
what you mean. Like I'm burning gas
Yeah,
in
you're burning again.
significantly.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one thing. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not saying stop going to the gym, but I think
Yeah.
you can balance it out. Like one day you go and one day you try an online home workout and see how it works for you. And honestly, like I feel I'm the fittest now I've ever been with online workouts rather than
Interesting.
yeah, just because it took me it's a combination of what once you realize you're into your fitness journey, and once you realize what works and what challenges your body and your mind, your mental state, by the end, you're depleted to the point where you've either reached hypertrophy, or your cardio is like just maxed out, man, after like a hit workout or something like that. That's how you know that you've really like pushed yourself to the limit. And I know that you're not going to be with a group of people after an online workout or completing that, but you know what you've done, and that really should be enough, right?
Yeah.
um So I think as to why, it's that lack of social interaction that people need to feel. But
I
then
agree.
also, if you're sharing it online in your social media and on like commenting on your YouTube, then that is a good social interaction right there. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can do a combination of both. What works for me is not going to necessarily work for John, right?
Yeah,
So
that
so
depends. I
yeah,
think you're absolutely
exactly.
right there. Like the and what I found working at a gym, and if any of this, if any of the members from the gym know, um, or if you know me and you're watching this, right? And what I find, and I'm not complaining, so no one feels self conscious, but like when you're an instructor at the gym, and you've seen this, is that like I am like also like a part-time counselor and a part-time like friend to a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
one of those things where like half the reason people show up is just to see other people. And the first lockdown that hit in Calgary, that was hard. And when we opened up, we were signing on new members. I asked them like what brought them in, and they were just like, I just wanted to be out of the house and I just wanted to see other
Yeah.
people. And like sometimes, like I'd finish my class, but like they're still talking to us like 30 minutes later. And again, guys, if someone watching this is one of those people who stayed 30 minutes after class, like it's fine. Like we enjoyed that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like this is a common thing. It wasn't like one
Yeah.
person, one time. It's like people just want to chat with each other, whether, when COVID hit, they would chat in the parking lot or
Yeah.
comment on Facebook more, or like, start to collaborate and like make
Hmm.
new friends. And that social aspect, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of being able to go to the gym. On
Hmm.
the flip side, I know people who go to the gym for like 2 years in a row. They go to like Good Life, like a big box gym, never talk to
Yeah.
another human soul ever.
Yeah.
They don't.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why it's different for different people. Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
used to go to one of those, like, as you said, yeah, the big box gyms, and I never spoke to anybody.
Yeah.
And I
You
just
scan
go
the
did my
key tag
workout.
and you're like, head down.
Exactly. And then I'm done. I'm like, I wasn't here to make friends ever. But for like certain types of gyms, it is about that community. And you do, like, I mean, heck, I invited a whole bunch of friends from when I was at ILKB. I invited them to my wedding. Like,
Yeah. Totally.
that's
No,
how
of
close
course.
you are, right? So
Of course, like
yeah.
when you're grinding together like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of my close friends now are from like the gyms I train at, because
Hmm.
especially when you train like 4 or 5 days a week, and or in your case pretty much more than that too, right? Is
Yeah.
like you're seeing each other all the time and you're working hard together, and it's a bond of like or achieving goals together. It's like
Hmm.
the comparable too, but I'm not saying it is like, but it's like if you like went to war with someone, right? Like how like
Yeah.
close in movies, right?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yep.
been to war, guys, so I don't mean to
Yeah.
insult
Me
any
neither.
veterans out there. I'm just saying, like in movies, when you have like a Bond brother that you went to
Yep.
war with, and it kind of feels like
Yep.
that for me. Of like, like we had to sweat together, and like, and in very literally for me in Muay Thai, we had to bleed together because we'd bust each other's
Yeah.
noses open, or like we'd cut each other
Yep.
with our elbows. And and to be able to go to sleep, wake up, and see that person again and be friends, like it's a whole nother thing, because you're
Hmm.
in the same boat. um and with online workouts, I think the biggest reason people don't do it is they just haven't tried it. Like,
Yeah.
guys, seriously, like there's a 5 minute and a 10 minute workout on Trisha's channel. Literally, just if you don't have 10 minutes, I don't know, come on, guys, like, this is it. Like, just try it and make a space.
Hmm.
Like, people give me the weirdest excuses of like, I don't have room, or like I don't have time, or I'm like, COVID is the most free time you'll ever have. Like,
Yep.
what the hell else are you doing? So like,
Absolutely.
and like if you don't like, for me, if you have a bed at home, in my opinion, you have enough space to work out. Because
Yeah.
I've never had to use more than the mattress's worth of space, whether it's a single, double, whatever, to work out. So like, I just don't believe that you don't have space to work out. Like, um, people
Oh,
just have like this
absolutely.
mental barrier that online workouts don't work or they aren't good, but
Hmm.
it's a false narrative. And if they
Yep.
just tried it, I think it'd be absolutely eye-opening.
Yeah.
But speaking
And
of
that,
which, and you already spoke to this a bit, but the next question on the docket is, what are some of the benefits and advantages of home workouts that you've found? Because you've done even
yeah.
more than I have. Like, I have out of necessity. Actually, guys, if you need motivation to do online, another thing that one last thing I'll say about the previous question about like getting into online and being hesitant about it is that for me, and oftentimes, guys, like, here's how you deal with COVID. You don't have a choice. You
Yeah.
just got to
You
do it.
just have to do it.
Just
Yep.
if you just make it a necessity, make it a
Yep.
doctor's orders, like whatever it is you have to do to wrap your head around that home workouts not only are a great thing, but should be a thing.
Yep.
do that, right? Again, like, you know, if whether it's P90X or Sean T, bodybuilding.com, I think the YouTube workouts are way better and way more personable. Like, whatever works for you guys, find something, but just
Hmm.
realize that, you know, COVID might not go anywhere for a long time. And even when it's gone, I think people realize that home workouts are a way to go, if not the way to
Yeah.
go. So
Yeah.
anyways, a
If
quick ramble
I
there.
I just have a quick, no, you're totally fine. I have a quick story for you because you
Yeah.
raise a very good point. Two things there is that you drive to the gym, you're going to spend an hour there. An online workout can be quick and effective in just 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry, I held up a 5 and I meant
You're
10.
like
In
10
just 10
minutes.
minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
We can do math,
But
guys, I swear.
yeah, we no, I promise that I can do math. I'm just really passionate, so I got excited there
Yeah.
for a hot second. But yeah, it's quick and effective. In between a meeting, like there have been times when I'll just do a
Yeah.
quick Pilates session, and it's only 10 minutes of my time in between one or two meetings. So that's one thing too that's beneficial for an online workout. And then also, when I started doing online workouts, I had 2 meters of space in the room that I
Yeah.
was renting. I was still able to get a burn. I would be dripping sweat.
No,
And yeah,
2 meter
yeah,
puddle.
yeah. And a 2 meter putt, all you need is like this much space and a good attitude. And then that mindset that you were
Yes.
talking about, John, is that I have to do this. I can't either I can't afford going to the gym, I don't have time, COVID, right? Like this is just the mindset that you have to do it. You do not have to have like I am very fortunate now to have an at-home gym that I have curated and built to myself. But beforehand, I only had that 2 meters of space. And
Yep.
I remember my roommates being like, what the heck is that banging? And it'd be me doing my it'd be me doing my at-home workout in my bedroom. So
Yeah.
anyways, I just wanted to share that because like I've
Oh,
been
that's
through the whole
great.
gambit.
I think that's well. Unfortunately, I don't have a story like that to tell. So I'm glad you had it because yeah, like you make what you have work. And actually, you know, this is
Yep.
you know, guys, like if when people say they don't have time and they have kids, I'm like, honestly, if ask yourselves right now, what time do your kids go to bed and what time do you go to bed? Because if
Hmm.
you go to bed at 10 and if you go to bed at 12 and your kids are in bed by 10, that's 2 hours right there. Like,
Yeah.
and people always tell me like, oh, well, you can't work out at night. And like for me, that's just an arbitrary barrier people build for themselves. Like,
Yeah.
why not in between meetings? Why not during the lunch break? Why not 6 a.m. before work? Like, why not
Yeah.
10 p.m.? Like, I've worked out at, you know, Good Life was 24/7 here. Like, I'd work out
Yeah.
at 2 a.m. if that's all I had.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Exactly.
who's to say that you shouldn't do that? And guys, that's
Hmm.
also what I'm trying to get a point is like the mental barriers you build for yourself, like these defense mechanisms. You know, the more you look at them, if you put them under a microscope, you'll find there's cracks in them. There's cracks
Yeah.
in the logic.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it totally makes sense.
We
And if you
both
guys
really
want to
care
see
about
that,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we care about this. If you want to see that, I have a video on how to stay motivated during COVID. I'll have the link in the description as well. Now, Trisha, tell us about your home gym. What
Yeah.
is some good equipment to have? What's
Mhm.
some good stuff? And mind you, guys, we both believe this. That you don't need any equipment. And hopefully that
Yeah.
story illustrated like literally nothing but a good attitude is all you
Yeah.
need. But if
Yep.
you know, I find that when I like buy new running shoes, I'm gonna go out and run. But
Yeah.
when I
Oh,
buy new boxing
absolutely.
gloves, I'm at the gym. So what are
Yep.
some cool stuff we could recommend that are cost efficient, space
Hmm.
efficient, for people to work out at home?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I would say hardwood floors, then mat is the first thing. That is the most effective tool that you will ever utilize. I'm
Flooring.
still using the one that I bought back in 2015 that I
Okay.
used to
That's
work out
6 years of mileage.
yeah, exactly, in those 2 meters. This
Yeah.
is the exact same mat. I've been using the same one. So I mean, it was expensive at the time, but I'm still
Yeah.
using it. So I think that was one thing
It's a good
that
investment.
yeah, exactly. It's a really, really good investment. And then I would also say that like having something simple, like if, for example, you can't afford any type of weights, then set aside two water bottles or two
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Campbell
detergent
soup
jugs or
cans,
something.
guys. Go to the
Yeah,
grocery store, like no joke.
yeah,
When I was broke, I shadow boxed with soup cans. Just
yeah,
buy ones that you can wrap your fingers almost around,
yep.
and those were my weights, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I used to use gourds as well.
Oh
Those
yeah,
were those were my weights because they're perfect. They're like you just especially like butternut squash, it's perfect for
just
that,
gripping,
and that's
right?
yeah, and just dripping and then that's your dinner later,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like
I did
two,
eat the soup after. It's not like soda where like you shake it and it blows up. So I
yeah.
was able to eat the soup afterwards as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So it's very cost effective. So I would say like number one thing that if you have some money and you want to start investing in an at-home gym, the first thing I would encourage you to do is purchase a mat because you're going to need that for your like your stretches. You're going to need that for any type of like
Jumping.
plank or whatnot, jumping,
If your
everything like
face is
that.
on the floor, you want to have a
Yeah,
nice one.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And especially if you have like those hardwood floors, then you need to be able to protect your feet because your feet won't be able to
Yes.
take it. You need to have a mat and protect your back. A lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
forget about how important your lower back is and how important your feet are when they first start working out at home. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way. So learn from me and my mistakes, get yourself a mat and invest in one. That's the first thing that I would encourage you to do. And then from there, it's about, saving your money. We both used weird like soup, cans
Yeah.
of soup, like
Like
gourds,
whatever you can do,
water
right?
bottles. Yeah, exactly. There was a period of time when I was using bottles and that those are that like you save the wine bottles, fill them up with water, put a cork in it, and then that's your weight. That
Don't
works
drop
out
it though,
well.
guys. I'm
Don't
getting
drop it.
anxiety just thinking about it, but
Oh, absolutely. I would only use them for like say like a small yoga working session where you're just holding
uh
them. It's a static movement. You're not doing like
yeah.
hardcore hammer curls or
Yeah,
bicep curls with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
I wouldn't do that. That like wouldn't recommend. Heck no. So
You
those
never
are I
know.
would yeah, exactly. You never know. And I'm very clumsy. So
Like your hands get sweaty too. And just to
yeah.
interject there is that guys like I teach kickboxing online like 5 days a week right now, and the flooring matters. Like whether you have
Yeah.
like in the case of kickboxing, like because you try to pivot or like say we do like jumping jacks, or even like jump squats or kicks, and every time you
Hmm.
land your foot, like people didn't realize that like the mats at the studio, like the MMA mats that we use, like they're expensive. Like I
Yeah.
won't say the exact number, but I'm telling it's like 5 digits
Yeah.
dollars American to fill a studio out with that kind of like MMA mat, Tommy mat,
Yeah.
a suede mat flooring, and people did not realize how much it was protecting their knees and their lower
Yes.
back. So if you guys do go to a gym, like a MMA gym especially, or a martial arts gym, like I look at the mats and jump on it, just know and fall on it, just know that was expensive to produce. So having
Hmm.
any semblance of that at home really helps with the mileage. I will say
Hmm.
mileage of like if you're doing 5 workouts a week, eventually your knees will feel it, your lower
Yeah.
back. Like I run 6 days a week right now, like my ankles, knees, like joints, like
Yeah.
hitting the concrete, that mileage adds up. So it's seriously flooring. I know it seems expensive. Like in Canadian, I think like a 2 meter square, like 2 by 2 meter by 2 meter, that could be like
Hmm.
$500. I'm aware of
Yeah.
that, you guys, but
Yeah.
seriously, and if it lasts 6 years or more in this case,
Exactly.
I think
If it
that's a case to be made. But also, it really will. If it means you won't quit because you have sore knees, that's worth $500. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And think about how much money if you're doing your at-home workouts and you're like prepping an at-home gym versus going to the gym, think how much money you're spending on your gym membership because there are some awesome gyms out there that are expensive on a monthly basis or weekly basis even. And think about how much money you spend on that and talk about like think about using that in terms of your budget for your at-home gym. That's how
Yeah.
much money you like. If you're willing to spend $150 a month going
Yeah.
to a gym, then think about being willing to spend at least a couple hundred on a mat or flooring for yourself so that you are doing yourself a favor, especially if you're going to make that investment.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I would say like the other thing that was really beneficial for me in starting my at-home workouts was purchasing my like after saving up some money, purchasing my first set of dumbbells. I
Yeah.
started small. I started with my 3 pounds. Okay.
Yeah. That's
You do
actually,
not
guys, for shadow boxing, I don't use more than 3 pounds right now.
exactly, and
If
you
you're
shouldn't you
creative, it's hella.
exactly, and you honestly, I think frankly, if you're using like 5 or 6 pounds, then that's you have to be careful with your back at that point in your
Yeah.
shoulders, right? Especially for shadow boxing, at least in my experience, that's
No,
when the
you're right.
movements are much slower, and I'm focusing on my technique more so rather than my cardio at that point. Um,
Yeah, you
but
gotta
yeah,
be.
yeah, you have to be, but also like weights in terms of how much they are it doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to focusing on your technique and just building up that core strength in order for you to get to the next weight size. So, and
Right.
that's when I was using my 3 pounds, that's what I was focusing on. I was just like, keep in mind, like I bought those even before 2015. That was just like a, hey, I have pounds, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
um,
like totally.
yeah, I'm
Like
just working out.
winners,
Yeah.
guys, winners. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
winners for that kind of
exactly.
stuff.
So exactly, just like purchase those like, yeah, winners. Or if you're like in the United States and you're watching this, think about going to a TJ Maxx. Like that's where
Oh
I
yeah,
bought my
yeah,
three
right.
pound
You're
weights,
right.
3 pound weights or 5 pound weights is perfect for that. And those are very effective. You can, I work out now with 20 and 40 dumbbells, but like you do not have to do that because
Yeah.
it took me 3 or 4 years to be able to do those without hurting myself. That's the thing. Like
Yes.
you have to be careful. So don't go out and say to yourself, all right, I'm going to go get some mats. I'm going to buy these like 50-pound dumbbells because I'm strong
Yeah.
AF, right? But
Yeah.
you've never done an at-home workout by yourself. Keep in mind, nobody's going to be spotting you. So you have
Yeah.
to be careful.
No one's
Build up
checking
the
your
strength.
technique or like if you're doing
Exactly.
something wrong or stressing something out. Like when you're stressing out your joints, the problem is you're not self-aware of it until it's too late. Typically, that's the dangerous
Exactly.
thing about with anything in fitness, not like home
Yeah.
workouts specifically, like just in general, right?
Yeah, exactly. If somebody isn't telling you that you're doing, like, for example, if you're doing a dumbbell row and you're bending your back while you're doing it and you're at home, but you don't have a mirror to show you, hey, you're bending your
Yeah.
back, then you're going to hurt yourself, especially if you're using 20-pound dumbbells or 40-pound dumbbells. That's not going to do you any favors. The next day you're going to feel it and you're not going to want to work out, you know? I think that's
That's
the
a hard stop.
Exactly. So be cognizant of your movements. I would say like in my workouts, I like to stress that you keep your back straight for certain exercises. And then there's other ones where you need to make sure that your booty is pressed back. Like
Yeah.
that is extremely
Those all
important.
matter,
So
right?
exactly. It will matter. So I would say like start with small weights first, get used to those movements because I'm not going to be at home with you yelling at you saying, "Hey, you're not doing it right." I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going to,
It's a
you
recorded.
exactly, exactly. The other thing I would encourage people to think about is working out in front of a mirror just to
Yeah.
focus on your form as well.
I'm really glad you said that because I was actually there's the two like things and I won't go into them yet, but like the two things I'm gonna say that people don't think about, I think is a full
Mhm.
length mirror and a foam roller. But
Yes.
anyways,
Oh
continue
my
on.
God. Oh God, preach. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're getting into it, but whether you've been, I've been training now in Muay Thai for 7, 8 years, like whether you're 8 years in or 8 days in, guys, your recovery is almost, if not more important than the actual workouts that you do. So
Hmm.
buying a foam roller and not letting it collect dust is like one
Yeah.
of the best $15-$20 TJ Maxx / winners investments you will ever make. They're
Yes.
so accessible. And like, if you don't know how to use one, I know I've done a few shout outs now, but like there's a foam rolling full class, 45 minutes, follow along in my channel. Like this, it's free, no excuse. Like you could like every muscle group gets hit in that video if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm telling you, do it like 3 times a week, 5 times a week,
Yeah.
once a week, doesn't matter. Do as much as you're able to because uh the recovery is so important. It's going to keep you in the
Yes.
game longer. It's going to
Hmm.
keep you
And
in
you
the
don't
game
even have to
longer.
work out before you do a foam rolling session.
Yeah.
Your muscles will always need it.
Yeah, yeah, your muscles will
They
always
really will.
they'll always appreciate it. And if it hurts, I promise you guys the pain it lessens and goes away over time. Like it
Yes,
only
it
hurts for
does.
the first couple of weeks, as many
Yes.
things with fitness.
Yes. Yeah.
So and the mirror, to your point, so whether it's shadow boxing, even just doing a
Yeah.
proper squat or just whatever, like if it's to boost your own ego, like you put on makeup
Yeah.
that day, fuck it, you bought
Yeah.
new leggings, you just
Yeah.
visited Lulu, your ass is looking good finally. Well,
Yep.
all those things add into a better workout.
They really
Honestly,
do. They really do. You don't realize it until like you start to work out at home because I didn't have a mirror in my at-home gym that I currently have, but I did in my apartment where it just had the 2 meters so I could see and it was just like it was this big. It was so small. But like
you're like
it
trying to
yeah, I was
eyeball
just like,
it.
I think, oh, okay. So, but it made such a big difference and it really did like helped me to focus in on, to the point where if I went into a gym and a fitness instructor would come over, they'd be like, oh, you're perfect, don't worry about it, because I was already very cognizant of, I'm not saying that I didn't hurt myself before that point. It took me hurting myself to
Yeah,
realize
to
I
know.
should work on my form, it's extremely important. So yeah, I think like foam roller, mirror, mat, low set of dumbbells, you're good to, and
That's
then
all you
just
need.
like good attitude, 2 meters of space. That's all you need. And even that, like that's if you have like a good $200 that you set aside and budgeted for this. Even that, if you just have a carpet and you have 2 water bottles and you have a good attitude, you're fine, you
The
know?
first thing you guys need, I think, you're hitting on the nose here. Is like the most important thing I heard there is the attitude thing, right? It's the
Yeah.
attitude of
Yep.
like whatever you have, you're gonna work with, right? Or like
Yep.
whatever problem comes up, you could deal with. And like here's an example, guys. If you look up like early days of Manny Pacquiao, obviously I'm a fighter, so like most of the examples I have are fighting related. But he
Hmm.
was, is the pound for pound greatest, not greatest, but one of the greatest Filipino fighters, if or maybe the
Yeah.
greatest, whatever.
Wait,
Um,
yeah, that's
I
my
guess say
personal
yeah,
opinion
yeah,
though. Yeah.
probably right. I
Yeah,
mean,
I would think so.
so 7 division champion, at a time, where there was so many great fighters, Oscar De La Hoya, Roberto Duran, he was number one pound for pound. But if you look at him before he got picked up to train in the States, he was a brawler punk kid, essentially, in the Philippines. And, I grew up not too far off from where he grew up. And it's exactly, it's if you think what slums are, like unless you genuinely live in one, guys, like I find a lot of people in the West, they don't wrap their head around like how slummy it is in the Philippines, in
Mhm.
some parts of the Philippines. So my Filipino brothers, like I'm not shit talking the homeland, all right? Just y'all know if you're there, there's a couple of like dirty, like every second block, like the only sports I could do were basketball and boxing because it's the only
Mhm.
things that we had space for and that were
Mhm.
popular at the time. And you weren't cool if you didn't do those things, at least where I grew up, or if you didn't know how to hip hop dance or something.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anyways, I'm rambling, but
No, you're fine.
Manny Pacquiao was a professional fighter, essentially, or he's brawling at 15, 16, and all he had to work out with was 2 tires and a plank of wood. And what he would
Yep.
do is that one tire, it was a bike tire, he'd use it to wrap his ankles to a piece of wood and just do sit-ups on it, incline, 1,000 a day,
Mhm.
1,000 a day. That's how his abs got ripped. He would just do a ton of push-ups as well. And he didn't have a punching bag, so he took a tire off an old Jeep and he just put some string on it, tried to hang it up, and that was his only punching bag.
Mhm.
And he was so naturally talented. Eventually, he got picked up and got trained by Freddie Roach. But it just goes to show that in the slums of the Philippines, where nutrition, hygiene, space, if you're from the Philippines, you know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of places. I didn't have to grow up necessarily in that, but like I saw it. Like all those things as limited as limited could get. Like food was a shortage, right? Like
Yeah.
cleanliness was a shortage. Water, clean water to shower yourself was a shortage.
Mhm.
Education was a shortage. And here we have produced the greatest Filipino fighter and at the time one of the greatest fighters all time. So
Mhm.
it just goes to show what you can do if you have the attitude of like you use what you have when you have it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's a good spot to wrap it up. Other than a closing thought, I know there's some other questions in our docket, but we answered all of these just talking normal, luckily.
I love it
And
when we talk normal.
yeah, well, the questions too, they're not like a hard interview. They're just like to make sure we don't go completely off track. I
Yeah,
like to have those.
absolutely.
But I think we answered a
Yeah.
lot of great questions.
Mhm.
Guys at home, if you have any questions that Trisha or I can answer, please comment them below. We'll both monitor the comments, or at least I'll monitor the comments, and then anything that directly needs Trisha, I'll let her know for y'all.
Yeah.
And we'll reply to you because we love engaging with y'all. Please consider liking both of our channels, videos, and subscribing because we do want to hang out with y'all again. And the likes, they really help us a lot as small YouTubers to get like recommended. So
Mhm.
it's again one of those free things you can do. Like we're not asking for money or Patreon or whatever as of today. Maybe later. I don't know. Just a like, it really helps us out big time. Or sharing the
Mhm.
video is absolutely awesome. Please consider doing an online workout, whether it's the one with me in it or a 10-minute one or whatever. Trisha's got a bunch. Or I always advise you guys, like, if it's not us, find something because that's what
Yeah,
we care about that too, right? That you find whatever path it is that you're on.
absolutely.
So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Actually, Trisha, anything else you want to mention before I sign us off?
Yeah, no, just, be happy, have a cool day. And if you aren't happy, that's cool. You do not have to be, but get your mind right, get into a workout.
That's it. That's it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody.